Hello fellow space engineers, we're back here, and like we said before, we're gonna begin repairing the Charon Armed Transport. And I am using the exterior view because I wanted to see where the grid's core of this ship was, so I can place the temporarily projector there. And turns out that if I go to first person view, this is what happens. I see the grids, the kind of like the skeleton parts of the 3D model of the character. Apparently, I don't know, they are like the head, neck, and I guess facial expression skeleton points. Anyway, so let's place the projector. Yeah, apparently it is aligned. There it is. Okay, enough of this. Fine. So we need to take care not to move the ship while we're doing this, otherwise this thruster here will destroy the projector, or we can just like turn it off, but anyway. Actually, I wanna know if I actually placed that thing correctly. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's finish this thing and load up the projection of the Charon that I found in the workshop. Okay, for some reason the workshop files are not loading for me. It's not a surprise, it's happened before. So I'm just gonna begin to, take this, how do you say, like, iron out some of these details here. I have to consider that, well, this is the space for thrusters. Okay, apparently no internal damage, but there's a space for the landing gears too. Where are they? I think this is it. So, since I am not gonna do the whole retractable landing gear thing, we have some conveyor damage there. Since we're not gonna do that, we are freed of some empty space, actually. Sorry, we have some free empty space on the inside of the vessel, the sides especially. Basically 1 block thick. That regarding this whole piston area here, since we're gonna use the Uncle Steve door mod that doesn't require a piston. So this whole side here, this hole there, becomes empty space. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with that empty space. If I want to put maybe more thrusters, maybe weapons, the larger caliber weapons, but those would have to be connected to the conveyors. Just repairing this side so I can get an idea of what blocks are missing, what do we have to replace, what do I have to repair. I'll spare you this monotony and I'll resume recording when I get something done. We're gonna begin by cutting off this piston and then catching the door with the dung beetle back there. Let's see if I have access here. Let's do this. should take care of it. Just wedge there. I don't want to modify the structure, so I think I'm just gonna bump it from the other side. And still, I'm unable to... Huh. This is not working the way it used to. Still unable to load up the blueprints from the Steam workshop. Sometimes that happens. Actually happens more often than is comfortable. But anyway, it can work more in the creative aspects of the modifications that I'm gonna make to this design. This is odd. When I end up grinding that thing down by myself. Huh. Something is holding it. Okay. This might be a bad idea, because I am repeating the exact same thing that produced the damage in the first place. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. It's gonna have to be done manually. Or not. There it is. There it goes. Okay, let's go in carefully. Ah. You know, just forget about that door. Okay. I'm gonna resume the recording when I reposition the Charon. Well, like I said before, I'm gonna take this opportunity to grease the interior space. So I'm gonna get rid of this layer here. And then I'm gonna try to devise a way of adding oxygen to this ship on a fully conveyed modded thrust turret. Okay, let's open up the space for the turret. Let's see how can we convey this thing. Okay, this central area here, we need to modify it. Sadly, we're gonna have to lose the crew compartment camera, but I think we can rearrange that. Fortunately, the original designer made this ventral and central like spine conveyor line, which lends itself to be updated and modified fairly easy. My only concern is that I won't be able to fit in an oxygen tank. Maybe I can do it underneath, but I'm gonna begin by demolishing these connectors, sorry, these conveyors, as well as the ejectors that basically supply the crew with ammunition. And I'm gonna change that with, whoa, uranium. Okay, I'm gonna change that with some small cargo containers. Come here. Damn it. Come on. There you go. Okay, let's clear out this space here. I have to say that I really don't like choosing mods over vanilla blocks, because you know what that entails. You know, some mods are abandoned. Some of them, in some occasions, they basically cause the game to crash. That's happened to me before. Some of the textures, you know, they are not compatible with the X11. So ideally, I would have a ship like this, like the original designer intended, with just vanilla blocks. But that's unrealistic. Oh, hi there. Mr. Boots wants attention. Okay. Off he goes. So, as I was saying, some mods have like a higher or a better functionality than the vanilla blocks, but at the same time, you're basically depending on the author being, you know, consistent with the work. Okay, I'm gonna move this around. Okay, I'll show you how this ends. Okay, this is the core of the ship, and as you can see, the remote control is located here, as well as what I assume are munition containers for the Gatling guns. But that's a really good design. The thing is, I need to change that and maybe move this remote control block over here. That all depends on how I position the large conveyors and the medium cargo container and the connector that I want to install in this ship. It's gonna have like a central column here. Ideally, you would have a connector facing downwards on the bottom, then followed by a square large conveyor with small ports on the sides, and then on the top a large port, maybe using a conveyor frame, and on top of that I'm gonna install one of the Okim weapons turrets. So that's the plan. Let's see how this whole like surgery turns out to be. Okay, I see how this works now. So right here, that's basically the floor of the Charon, and it's 2 layers thick. That's ideal for a transport like this. I don't know if it was intentional, but if you're taking anti-aircraft fire, you want to protect the underside of the vessel. So it's working to our advantage, especially with the coming, you know, the soon to be released planets, hopefully. But anyway, so what this is basically a cluster of small reactors that power the entire ship, and one of them has been damaged. These 2 connectors, which basically conveyors, which connect them to the rest of the system of the ship, will have to be replaced by something else. So I'm gonna have to try to align those pieces that I mentioned before: a connector, a medium cargo container, and one of those large square conveyors, the one that has both large ports and small ports. So the whole system should be a column here that basically fits and links up everything. So let's see how can we do that. one of the directives that we have to follow is, if we're gonna do non-retractable landing gears, the connector that's going on the bottom has to be at the same level at which this thing touches the ground. Okay, I think I figured it out. I removed 3 of the small reactors down here, and I'm going to replace the one in the middle with a small conveyor box, and then put the 2 reactors facing inwards. Then I'm gonna build a large conveyor right here on top of the connector, and the medium cargo container on top, fitting to these side tubes. Let's check it out. Well, this turned out to be the best configuration for the core of the ship. I actually managed to line up 2 medium cargo containers, and still gives me some extra space for a 3rd cargo container or 2 conveyor frames. That's plenty of room and cargo space for the ship. Taking into consideration that the turrets occupy more than a 3x3 space, they actually occupy a 5x5 space, I may go with the option of the 3rd cargo container, although I do not like to expose those pieces, you know, to like the outside. But so far I haven't seen, I have yet to see a turret that occupies just that smaller space. I would love to use this recession here, well, it's kind of like depression in here, to cover the turret a little, but it will have to be placed on the same level as the outside of the hull, the fuselage of the Charon Armed Transport. Okay, here we are again, and this is the inside of the Charon Armed Transport, and I had to dig up all my way in here from the bottom of the craft. As you can see, it has all this empty space. On the sides it used to house the pistons for the landing gears, and in here I have no clue what, I have no idea what it was in here. I even thinking that I could even fit a large reactor, but anyway, here's what I'm gonna show you. I did some changes to these conveyor lines. Apparently they were like pointing in the wrong direction. Maybe that's intentional, to separate the ammunition for the guns from the uranium from the reactors. But what I want to show you is this space right here. It's the perfect space to place an oxygen tank. There it is. And I'm just gonna have to redo the layer of protection underneath, but apparently I'm gonna be able to link up this with the new oxygen update. I found something interesting. This dead end conveyor line. I don't know if it was a previous feature that the author uh, started building and then changed his mind and then forgot to remove the conveyor line, but yeah, basically this L-shaped here is not needed, so just for saving materials and simplicity of maintenance, I'm gonna get rid of that conveyor line. Well, I managed to get the blueprint after fighting with the Steam Workshop. Didn't wanna link up and show me any of my blueprints. I discovered that the Charon did have reloadable rocket launchers on the side. The dead end conveyor is still a mystery, but it used to have a large cargo container here. Kind of, I think I can, yeah. It's not gonna be a problem to link it back up, but I do need to rework this entire whole cluster of reactors. I may end up adding 2 large reactors on the side, or maybe 2 smaller clusters of small reactors on the sides, because at this point, with this design, the only way to reload those rockets, I mean with the original design of the Charon, is to do it manually, and I want to be able to do it from the underbelly here. So I'll keep you posted on my findings on how to reroute this whole conveyor system. Can you consider this a platformer game? Definitely behaves like those platforms in Super Mario. Anyway, let's keep working. Well, let me show you the setup that I decided that is going to be the final design for the main conveyor system of the Charon. So, towards the front, we have these 2 reloadable rocket launchers on either side. They are joined in a T-shaped structure meeting towards the middle. I use 2 large conveyor tubes, then a square conveyor that funnels them, as you can see here, towards this medium cargo container. Then, because of the nature of the design that uses a 2-layer thick flight armor for the underbelly of the craft for extra protection, I extended that design with 2 conveyor frames, one leading towards another square conveyor that connects towards the bottom with this other conveyor frame and then leads to the connector that is going to be the main reloading port for the craft. And that same square conveyor also connects it upwards with another medium cargo container that leads to another conveyor frame that ends on the turret that is going to be placed here. So imagine 2 T-shaped structures, one twisted 90 degrees in relative to the other. So basically that's what we have here, and it's fairly simple when you come to think of it. The only complex part was redesigning the reactor cluster, as you can see here. It kind of reminds me of one of those muscle car engines, like a V8 or something like that, with the cylinders on the sides, diagonally on the top, protruding a little bit sideways. So that medium cargo container, has 2 large ports, 2 small ports, and 2 blank sides. So the blank sides are facing top and bottom. The large ports are facing forwards and backwards, and the 2 small ports are connected with this series of small square conveyors you can see there, those square conveyors. And then I placed small reactors top and bottom those small square conveyors. So everything is connected, everything is plugged up to the main access port, but it was just tricky to work inside. It kind of like felt like, you know, working under a big truck, like a big rig, if there's such thing, because you know those big rigs, they basically they pop up, the engine pops, the engine hood pops up. So anyway, it kind of like felt like working under heavy machinery. Now you see here, what you see here is the empty, or not the empty, the open, you know, access towards all of these engine compartment. Now if we follow the original design, let's place the projection on top, you notice that all that is encased in light armor. So the crew compartment is separated from the engine compartment. Same goes on the bottom. I mean, it's protected by that double layer of armor. And as you can see there are the pistons that operate the landing gears, which, you know, we cannot use in this game. No matter how much we want, they're basically just for like a conceptual show. But if you just wanna fly around with it, this is what's gonna happen. Ship is gonna explode. So I decided that I'm gonna keep that empty space there. It's also a design for protection. I've seen some videos in which people try like spaced armor, like just leave air in between, and that tends to trap projectiles, and it tends to work in some occasions depending on the angle of the shot and some other factors. Works better than just two you know, sandwich layers of heavy armor. So I'm gonna keep the original design and alter as much as I can. I'm going to build it as it is. I'm just gonna open up this tiny port here so the crew has access to, you know, whatever they need from the main compartment without using their personal lockers, which have their rifles and stuff, but you can see rifles and ammo. So missed that. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this. That's gonna keep the engine block as protected, as much protected as I can. Of course, I'm not gonna build these pistons. I'm gonna leave the empty space out, and I'm gonna place one of the ankle steve doors here and here on the sides. Okay. This is what I decided to do with that open conveyor line. I'm gonna place 50mm cans facing forward. I could have placed more Gatlings, but I didn't see any use, especially since we have these two already and the other two on the other side. It was just changing that tiny light armor block and replacing it with a square conveyor. And I don't know, to me it doesn't change the shape that much, just two protruding pipes facing forwards, the barrels of the gun. So yeah, we'll go that way. Okay, energy. Okay, it's time to place the turret. I decided to go with the 50mm Okim Industries turret. I think it's a better choice over the 23mm. It has longer range, and it also shares ammo with these forward-facing guns, so I'm not gonna have to worry about like having 3 different types of ammo, especially since we already have like a Gatling gun ammo for the front Gatling guns, and these Gatling guns have higher accuracy than the 23mm ones, which are more like a spread pattern. Okay, Now, I want to automate the building process. So what I'm going to do, since all of these spare parts are in the Calypso, I'm going to dock the dung beetle on the Calypso, activate the dung beetle's welders, and basically fly the Charon in front of the welders and rotate it around. Let's see how it goes. Well, now it's time to remove the pistons that were built with the welders of the dung beetle. that were in the original design and replace them with this simpler but let's say less explosive design. Just a simple landing gear attached to a block that I colored blue, so I know that it's part of the modification instead of the original design. We are in the final stages of our repairing and retrofitting of the mods into the Charon Armed Troop Carrier, and as you can see here, this is the place where the camera and the ejectors were installed. I believe the ejectors were designed and were placed in that position so the crew could grab ammunition and other wares from the main cargo hold of the ship. But in this case, we're gonna have them access this port here directly, one that is behind the projection now. So I'm gonna turn off the projector. And I'm gonna just like link up all those light armor blocks from the top and the bottom. And I will only leave that opening, and I will include the camera here like in the original design. I'm gonna place it in this position so the pilot and co-pilot slash gunner can actually see what's going on in the crew compartment. Okay, let's start building. Okay, it's time to place the doors. And as I said, I'm gonna keep that space there for defensive purposes. Now the Uncle Steve doors, they are 5 blocks wide. That leaves us with a space. I think I'm gonna put these doors here. Yeah. Then I'm gonna have to fill in the other part with regular light armor blocks. Like I said before, I wanna have these. It might come because of my background with architectural restoration that I wanna make all modifications reversible. So in case, like in the future, the developers actually fix the pistons and rotors, we can actually revert back to the original design. But for now, I think the mods will have to basically suffice for. Oh, should have done that. You know, for the shortcomings of the game's engine so far. Okay. Now, should I make it that color? No, it should be this color. There. Okay. It would be ideal if the Uncle Steve door mod would have DirectX 11 textures, but well, let's hope the mode is not there and he updates it. Also, sadly, there's no air or pressurization for small ships so far, at least in the vanilla game, but I would definitely like to have this as a pressurized cabin. Well, we are done here. I hope you have enjoyed this kind of like overhauling video of a really good design, the Charon Armed Transport. I'll keep you posted on any other developments or exploration finds, although I think I'm gonna put it short for now because I'm collecting way too many ships. Oh, I forgot to remove this thing. Well, either way, it's 99% ready. What I do like about this is that you can land it and basically it becomes kind of like its own defensive position with this big turret up here. Well, that's all for now.